in your body, but they move in like this. So what they do to counteract the movement is they move their feet out like this. So if this floor was shape and I was on a ship or as an earthquake or something like that, that's the correct thing to do, right? Because the platform's moving. The platform's moving, right? You move your feet. So instead of being like this, you're going to fall over, right? So you're going to stand like this, right? That would be the correct thing to do, right? But it's different on a surfboard. Because what are you doing by putting your legs apart on the surfboard? Can anyone tell me? In terms of rocking? You're accentuating the rock. You're magnifying the rock. If your body weight is close to the string here, right in the center of the board where you should be, there's less rock. If you put yourself out like this, then the board is rocking more. You think you're counteracting the rock, and that's your intuition, but you're not. You're making the board rock more, and that's why we talk about feet together like a pencil and like this. Everybody with me so far? Anyone? Is it all comprehensive? Is it all making sense? Right? Any questions at this point? No? Right? It all sounds logical, right? So yeah, you want to go as far as the board as you can. I don't want to use too many technical terms, but the nose purling is the front of the board going under. And that's what novices happens with novices. The front of the board goes under. Why would the front of the board go under?
Too far forward.
Or too far forward, or the head's down at the wrong time, right? Or you're not moving fast enough, and that's typically it. They're not too far forward. They're not too far forward, right? Typically, it could be, but generally not. They're not too far forward, right? They drop in the head at the wrong time, or they're not moving fast enough. If you imagine a speedboat, when a speedboat moves, it goes like this. Right? The speed lifts the nose out, and it's the same with surfing. If I lie on the front of the board here and my nose is under, when I start paddling, the paddling raises the board out of the water. So it's the actual movement. And normally, the pro surfers, the top surfers, the board doesn't go under, the nose doesn't go under, because they got the time in between the head movement and they got the speed. There'll be novice surfers, they're not laying too far. Typically, they're not laying too far. They could be, but they're not laying too far. They got the head in the wrong thing. They got the weight distribution. The weight distribution isn't right, or the speed isn't right. If you manage your head moving at the right time and you move fast enough, the nose isn't going. And the pro surfers, and you watch them. You're watching Catch a Wave, and they put their chin there, right? They're right on the top of the board. This is something that you can work towards, right? We all want to improve our surfing, right? You want to improve your surfing. You want to catch more waves. Practice laying further on the board and trying to control that. Right, that's one. A lot of time you're waiting for the wave, and it's quite difficult. It's like, you got a chance. It's like a couple of seconds, and maybe you miss the chance. You're snatching at it. You're snatching at these chances and opportunities. But actually, these things that I'm talking about, you can practice at any time. You can just go in the water, and you can get on the board, and you can immediately try paddling with your feet close together, not wide apart. Right? You can immediately do that. You can immediately try to get yourself balance on the board. It takes time, just practice, and it will come. And you can practice as well, laying on the board in the correct position, and it will. If you're not doing it right, and you get to do it right, your surfing level will step up, right? Just being able to lie on the board correctly. So when you're surfing, when you're paddling, you want your fingertips to enter the water first, and you don't want any splashing. The reason for this is that you have surface tension on the water, and you're cutting through that water, and you don't want to be doing it like pushing it down. You want to be cutting through efficiently as you can. They used to tell, when I was competitive swimming a long time ago, like in the 70s and the 80s, and they used to tell you the technique for paddling. They would tell you that you'd use your hand like this into the water, and then you twist it, and then you put your hand in the water like this and you twist it. And the reason they tell you that, because it's less resistance going into the water, right? There was a lady here last year, an American lady, and she taught swimming, she did, right? And she said it's changed, right? And it's actually, you enter the water, for swimming you enter the water like this, with your fingertips like this, and it's the same for surfing. So can anyone tell me why would they have changed the technique from entering the water like this or to entering the water like this? This is the good one, this is the bad one.
More efficient. Because you don't have to turn it in the water.
You're not wrong.
But not right.
I would say more right. You're more right than wrong.
Does the twist of the hand create more resistance?
No. There's 3 stages to paddling. There's the catch, there's the pull, and there's the release. It actually makes the catch easier. What's the catch? You catch in water. If your hand is like this, you're not catching water and you're twisting it. You come in like this and you catch in water, you're pulling it. What you want to do to propel the surfboard forward, the water's got to go backwards, right? The water's got to go this way. If you're pushing the water down, that doesn't propel you forward. It's the water going in the opposite direction that you want to go. You want to go forwards, right? It's always forwards. The water's always got to go backwards. How is it going to go backwards? You've got to push it back. How do you get the water? You catch it, right? So the technique is elbows high. And this is the point, right? If you Imagine this is your surfboard, right? And this is your hand going in the water. This is your hand going in the water, right? If you enter the water like this, and you catch the water like this, and then you pull it to about here, and then you release. That's the stroke. It's catch, pull, release. What people do, they put the hand in flat and they push in down. They don't go deep enough and they push in up. Watch people surfing, right? And you'll see novices and they throw in water up in the air. What's the effect of throwing water up in the air? Very excellent answer, right? Excellent answer. It's energy wasted, right? It's not propelling you forward. It takes energy. If I was going to flick water and hit the roof there, however high the water goes, however the volume of water, the amount of water, it's going in the wrong way, right? Surfing's physics, right? And it's physics, right? And it's about an opposite movement. The water going this way and you going that way, right? It's simple, right? Pushing it down doesn't get you forward. Pushing the water up, it's trying to get your elbow high to catch. And if you come in like this, you're pushing down. So you're trying to get it. It's elbow high, and like that, right? So there's a physiological advantage between getting your elbows high. Can anyone tell me what that is, the physiological advantage?
Within your back muscles.
Excellent. You're engaged. If you paddle like this, right? All of the work, or nearly all the work, is on your shoulder rotator cuffs. And what happens if you paddle like this? What's going to happen to your shoulders? They're going to get tired very, very quickly and easily. And they're going to be like, you're going to come out, how was your surf? Oh, my shoulders are killing me. My shoulders are killing me. Are you going for a surf for the second session? No, because my shoulders are killing me, right? The other one is it causes injury. Because you put in so much strain on them, on the joints, on the muscles, it's causing strain, and you could find, like, are you going surfing that second session? No, I'm not even going tomorrow. Why not? Because my I got a shoulder injury, right? So your shoulders and your knees are complicated, and you need to be taking care of it, right? So, and this gentleman has an excellent answer. So, if you, I can feel it. If you're lifting up your elbow, you're engaging your back muscles. I think your biggest muscles is your femur. I think it's the thigh muscles, your biggest ones. But after that, I'm not an expert in physiology, right? But your back muscles are, they're big muscles, right? So. And if you look at the physiques of surfers and these pro surfers, they got a shape like a triangle. Their shoulder muscles are developed, right? They got skinny waists and they got wide shoulders because they doing the heavy lifting is done here, right? The heavy lifting is done here. It should be done here. Feel the water, put your hand in, feel it, and then pull it and release. A lot of people, they push too far, and the reason they push in too far, right, they're going too far because they haven't gone deep enough. Your hand should go under the water. You should be brushing the side of the board like this, and your hand should be sweeping under here. If you're paddling and there's a gap between the surfboard and yourself here, what's the effect of that? If I'm paddling like this rather than like this, right? This is the correct technique. My hand coming under here rather than to the sides. I heard somebody say something.
Waste of energy.
Why?
Because you lose, like this, it's more efficient for joints. Like this, you have much more resistance against your, I don't know,
it's not as efficient, right? So you are on the wrong, you are on the right lines. We can use different ways to describe it. There's two things that I can think of. One, if you paddle into the side of the board there, it gives you lateral movement, right? What's lateral movement? Is the board is going this way. If you watch these SUP guys, they have lateral movement, right? Because they're either side like that, right? And it gives you lateral movement. And what lateral movement does, it's going to move the board a little bit like this. Not a lot, right? Not a lot, but it's all marginal. The difference in catching a wave and not catching a wave is, generally it's marginal. But if you pull in here to the side, the board's moving a little bit, and it gives you a little bit of rock, bit of extra, it's an extra little bit of rock and a little bit of, you could say it's wasted energy, but I would call it lateral movement is what I would call it, right? And actually then it's actually physiological then, right? That your body is better able to paddle like this than like this. If your hands are wide, you're not able to go so deep. I don't know if it is wasted energy or not, but the technique isn't so good, right? So any questions on how to paddle? Everyone got it, right? Everyone got it.
Sorry, I have one question. Sorry.
Too late. Go on. I'm joking here. Go on.
What about the recovery, bringing your arm back? I'm always wondering, is it a bit like when you swim, or you're supposed to have your elbow super high?
It's not the same as when you swim.
Go around like that.
It's not the same as when you swim, right? Yeah. The difference is when you swim in is that you're in the water, and it's more chest muscles for swimming, right? So it's not the same. It's similar, but it's not the same. And that's why even if you're swimming, you're not working. The muscles are not exactly the same as for surfing, right? It's actually when you go to, I think it's just past 90 degrees, right? Then you're releasing it, and releasing is pulling the arm up, right?
Okay.
So.
I think my question is, once you've pulled out the hand, do you bring it like that, like you stay in line?
It's elbows high, right? Elbows, you're going like this, right? And it's not right. It's elbows high, okay. and it's elbows high, and you're trying to get in like at a 45-degree angle. You're trying to get in at a 45-degree angle, going under the board to about there and release. So it's this movement, right? It's the elbows high movement, right? That's the movement. Ladies first, as a gentleman and a lady. Ladies first to the questions.
How I've hurt my ribs a couple of times when surfing. If there's like a lot of pressure on the ribs, is that?
That's normal. If I haven't surfed for like a month or more than that, when I go in the water, I can feel it's soft. So that's an issue with beginners. It does. It's not causing injury, but it's causing discomfort. It's causing discomfort because your muscles are not hard here. And when you surf in regularly every day or a couple of times a week, then you're working your core muscles and you become quite hard here. And I said it's about a month, something like that is the difference. If you don't surf for 2 weeks and you go back and you feel all right, if I'm a month of the water, I feel like, they're gone soft.
I was just going to ask that actually, and then a question for.
You was going to ask that question?
No, different question.
Go on, you can ask that question if you want.
Surf rash, and someone the other day was saying it's a good technique to try and
I think there's something about having a necklace on and having it touch the board and keeping it in the same place. It basically allows you to treat your core as being a bit more stuck to the board rather than maybe a little bit moving, which is probably, that's just something that...
I never heard of it. It could well work. It could.
Maybe evening today.
It could do it. It could do it. It's not. You know. It could do it.
The question was more the catch. So obviously in swimming, there's the position where you move yourself into elbow high. Is it same in surfing?
It's elbow high. It's elbow wide. It's not exactly the same as swimming. You know, because as I described it. And someone I know is a swimmer, and he told me that swimming is more chest.
Yeah.
So surfing is mostly shoulders, and it's due to the positioning where you are in the water. If you're lower in the water, it's more towards chest, and if you're higher in the water, it's more towards shoulders. But it's the same technique with regards to wanting to lift your elbows up high and catch. You know, it's this. You know, it's basically the same, but it's physiologically different because of where your body is positioned in the water. The wrong one. I'm pressing the wrong button. That's why. So how to paddle when catching waves? Now this is key, right? This is key because what's surfing about? Catching and riding waves, right? I was out in Impossibles the other day, and they said, "Oh, that guy, he's surfing over there," and I didn't want to say anything. He wasn't surfing over there because there was no waves, right? You know, it's not surfing. He's paddling, right? He's there. It's not surfing, right? You know, right? You know, surfing's catching and riding waves, right? Getting dunked by the shore break is not surfing. You know, being in a body of water where there's no waves, it's not surfing, right? It's about catching and riding waves. So ideally, to catch a wave, you're going to start moving slowly. Sometimes you have to go really quick to get into position, and it's about observation, right? It's being sharp, being alert, watching, and there's two senses that's going to be come into play here. The main factor is your brain, right? To be able to interpret the information, but it's usually about observation and calculating with your brain, and then having some determination as well. And I said if you take a surf lesson, do surfing guiding, it's also like listening as well to the instructions that you've been given. You know, a little bit here, a little bit faster, slower, right? So that's an extra thing comes into play. So in an ideal world, the wave is coming and it's going to move, and I got all the time in the world, right, to catch the wave, and I'm in a perfect spot. But ideally, I would start moving slowly. And actually, today I caught the white water in, right, and I had to catch the white water, and I started paddling I started paddling slowly instead of going really fast. Why is it an advantage to start paddling slowly?
Save your energy when you really have to push.
Exactly, right? Exactly, right? But what I can tell you is that the first stroke, this is physics, right? You go in from a state of rest, right, which is not movement, to a state of movement. And it takes a great deal of energy to go from 0 to 2 miles an hour, let's say, for example, right? So if you're paddling at 2 miles an hour, to maintain 2 miles an hour is not that great amount of effort. But to go from 0 to 2 seconds, and if you go there fast, you're tired quickly. If you've got shoulder injury, like I had a shoulder injury before, and you feel the first stroke and the second stroke, they're really hard paddles, right? They're really hard because the board's not moving. And when the board is moving, it's easier. So, perfect answer, right? You really, if you've got the time, you want to start moving slowly. And when you're actually moving then, it helps you to judge the wave as well. The wave is coming here, and it's like, oh, when do I go? And you're actually, if you're moving slowly, say the wave's moving at 4 miles an hour, you go to 2 miles an hour, and it's easier to judge it. While you have some movement, the wave is moving, you are moving, and it's just easier to be able to judge it. And if you have some slow movement, when it comes to the time that the wave is there and you need to come to the speed and you need to accelerate, you're not going from 0 to, let's say, 4 miles an hour. You're going from 2 to 4 miles an hour. Then that's a lot easier. It's easier to go from 2 miles an hour to 4 miles an hour. It's just like a car. If you're driving a car and you're accelerating, that's when you're using the gas, right? It's the acceleration, and that's where you're going through the gears. To go from 0 to 30, and that's what they do with these cars. They say, what's the speed? How powerful is it going from 0 to 60? How many seconds can it get from 0 to 60, right? And that, because that's using the energy. Once it's actually at that speed of 30 miles an hour or 60 miles an hour, if you're getting at a constant speed, then